And as always, we're going to be looking for accurate context, good risk management, and always exercising good patience.
Everybody who's traded has gone through periods of time where their strategy hasn't worked.
Where if not a hard stop, you should reevaluate the trades you're in based on time.
That's what we're here for, is to put ourselves in the best success. A trading routine does that, builds that habit, lets you know what to work on, what to reflect on, and what to improve on the next day.
Hello, everybody out there. Welcome to the Coach's Playbook on Tuesday, January 10th, 2023. Getting used to saying that. I'm joined by Dan, Mick, Hogue, today to talk about a real important psychological trading hurdle, but also something that everyone does. You got to really train yourself not to do this. The topic is, why do we let losses run? But before we get to that, Mick, what do you got for us? Which traders are doing well today?
I do. Well, we've got several traders doing well today, but a shout out to Aaron LaRue for trading the NQ, currently up a little over $10,600. So 5-figure day, really awesome. Happy to see that. So big shout out to you, Aaron.
Good job, Aaron. Aaron LaRue, the NQ guru, with us today. Good job. Keep on doing that.
Nice.
All right. And with that, terrible wordplay, let's kick this off. Probably the most common negative trading habit out there is either over trading or this, which is letting losses run versus not having that same conviction to let winners run. It's the same phenomenon as cutting winners short. They're just different sides of the coin. So to kick this off, let me say this. In the basic form, why do we let losers run? Because we are human beings who have emotions, and despite what you hear about it, we are optimistic. We are glass all full. For some reason, we want to believe that the negative P&L is just it's the end, it's darkest before the dawn. We really internalize that, right? So whereas you would never feel that way if you were up money, like, I need to let this run, it'll all work out. For some reason, when we're down money, we just say, it's got to work out. It's got to work out. Move that stop. No, it can't go lower. So I thought maybe today I'd let Hogue kick us off, because I know that this is something that you've talked a lot about with your coaching clients.
Well, thank you, Jack. And it is certainly one of the first things that we talk about is human nature has us doing things the wrong way right from the very beginning when we get into trading. A trader who puts on his first trade when it goes against him is usually going to default to, well, I'll just wait. If I wait, the market will probably come back and make me whole again or make me money. So we end up kind of marrying our losing trades and creating bigger and bigger losses. And the other side of that coin, and of the same kind of ilk, is when we have winning trades on, the urge is to, well, I'd better take the trade now before it goes away. So we end up cutting wins and holding on to losses. I've been listening to Tom Hugard's book, the best loser wins, and he's got it nailed in that. Everything that we do that is against what we're seeing in the market, everything that we do that tends to be what normal people would do, is the opposite of what a professional trader has to learn to do. And it all comes down to pain.
Yeah.
You don't want to get out of that losing trade because that is going to create pain. You want to get out of that winning trade because if it goes away, it's going to create pain. I'm really enjoying this book because it talks about so many of the things I've learned from trading psychologists in the past, so many of the things that I talk to traders about. And, the idea that you're just going to hold on to a loser until it comes back, or you're going to add to a loser so you can average your price and get out of it at break even easier. It's just not the right way to do things. And it all comes down to that fear and that that fear of feeling the pain of the loss. If you take the loss, there's nothing you can do about it. It is there.
Mhm.
You can't take it away. But if you hold on, hold on tight, and you hope and you pray, well, maybe one of these days that is going to come back and it's going to pay you, but it's going to ingrain bad behavior. When you do it and you're successful at it, don't get used to it. Don't do it again, because 9 times out of 10, 99 times out of 100, it's not going to pay you. That one time when it works for you is the only thing you're going to be thinking about, because it alleviated the pain.
You do not want to do the hard things. None of us do. It's always more difficult to do something that is hard than something that you want to do. I think that factors into why people want to take off the winners quickly and, get that dopamine hit from locking it in, but then completely opposite when it's against.
You just explained my academic behavior.
Yeah, like Hogue the academic.
Yes, if I wanted to do it, I loved it. If I didn't, forget it.
Yeah, big Aristotle, as Shaquille O'Neal once proclaimed himself. So we don't want to do the difficult things. And remember, if you're trading a liquid market, which you all should be, you're probably trading NQES, though you haven't locked in that loss is still there. If in a liquid market, something is 10 ticks against you and trading there, it is you have lost that money. It is there. That's the way you need to evaluate these things. Dan, I'll send it to you for any insights you might have.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I agree with everything Hogue says here. I mean, letting your losers run is such a common thing. And I think what you have to do as a trader is come in accepting that loss is a part of this business. This isn't, like a normal business where everything you do, creates potential revenue streams, right? Like, if you're working day to day and you're getting paid X amount an hour, every hour that you work is going to provide profit. This is not that industry. If that's what you're looking for, maybe you should not come into trading. So you have to come into trading knowing that it's not going to be always profitable each day. You're not going to grow every single day. You're going to take losses. But how do you then establish growth over time? And that's controlling losses. So coming in each and every day to accept that you're going to take a losing trade. And that is absolutely okay. I know how I've done it a million times myself, where I'm in a trade, it goes against, and I do I hope it turns around. Like, I know that exact feeling, like just a little bit, I can give it a little more.
Universal.
Maybe that'll do it.
Mm-hmm.
I know everyone's gone through that. I don't think there's a single trader that hasn't gone through that. But I think when you're doing that, what you're doing is you're paying too much attention to the dollars and cents that are going in and out of the account. We need to take that away from our trading. That's why I've always said you got to focus on process over profits. Because in reality, what you're doing when you are taking those losses and letting those losers continue to run, you're more focused on being right and not profitable. If you can focus on, hey, I need to be profitable over time, it's going to allow yourself to cut these losses a little bit sooner. If you're more focused on the ego check of like, I'm going to be right. I said I'm going to make money to the long side. I don't care how much it goes against me. I need to see it, give me that $5 in green for my ego to say, yep, I was right. I knew it was going to make money on this trade. If that's that mentality, you got to kind of shift your focus and put the ego. And I have an ego just like any, that's my background, right?
No.
You've got to, right? If you have that ego, frame how you're looking at it and look at it in the sense of like, I need to be profitable. And I don't care if my trades, my decision-making is always right. But if I can find a way to manage my risk that's going to allow me to be profitable, that's going to be a bigger ego win over time than, one trade, seeing a loser turn into a winner. Because like Hogue said, you'll do it 10 times and that one time it gives you the win. That's the only one you're going to think about. And you're going to forget about those other 9 times that you lost 9 times that profit. And in reality, you're down money on these types of trades. That's my big thing. Focus on that process, ignore the money in these, and come in with an understanding that you're going to have losing trades. And those losing trades need to be within this threshold to continue to move forward. If not, if I'm opening up that threshold, I'm deviating from that plan that I've worked hard to create.
So Mick, you work with the traders every day, and good points there, Dan. How do you see this sort of manifest?
Well, I mean, I think that, it psychologically makes sense that if something's not working out for you, you hope that it does work out for you. Where I think, I think that's what leads people to holding on to these losses longer than they might hold on to a winner. It's going against you. I agree with everything John and Dan said. If I'm in a position that's going against me, and it's going against me a lot, I might be a deer in the headlights where I'm just scared, panicking, and all I can do is hope that it just turns around. Oh my gosh, I've let things go so far against me. I'm scared and I freeze up and I can't get out of the trade. The opposite of that is, it's not uncommon for someone to find themselves in money or in the money on a trade or up money on a trade. And they're very, very quick to get out of it because they're fearful that money's not going to be there. So, you want to exit the trade really quickly.
First pullback, you try and get out.
Yeah. First pullback. So I know there's a lot of traders out there that trade their P&L, so that can play a little bit of a role in this as well. But I really think it just boils down to like hoping that it goes back in your favor. And that's why they're holding on to, because they're holding on to hopes. They're holding on to losing trades. It was funny. John was talking about the pain earlier. I've been in painful situations, in losing trades that have gone further than they should. I've always, I've been scared, deer in the headlights. Then I always feel better when I take that loss and just close the trade out. It's like, oh my gosh, that stunk. But like, thank gosh, I'm not in it anymore, watching it go further against me. The probably the easiest thing, and I talk to traders about this a lot, is to avoid being in a situation like that where you're holding on to losers longer than you should. Before you, and I've said this before here, so for those of you that have heard it, I'm going to say it again. Before you put any trade on, you need to know where you're getting out if you're wrong, whether that's a dollar value pain tolerance or a price level on a chart that you're seeing. And you should have a pretty good idea of where you're getting out if you're right. Now, if you have predetermined ahead of putting a trade on and taking risk, if you've predetermined where you're getting out if you're wrong, your stops in there, or you've already psychologically told yourself this is one outcome that could come from this trade. Now, it might not be the outcome you want, but if it is an outcome, you know exactly what to do when that market goes there, whether it's a dollar value loss or a price point on the chart.
Move your stop.
Yeah. Well,
Just kidding.
No, you
Just
don't
kidding.
want to move your stop.
Just kidding.
So if you can tell yourself ahead of time and frame out the trade, which we all need to be framing out our trades, this is where I'm out if I'm wrong, you're not going to find yourself losing trades longer. I mean, it could happen, but you're not going to be giving your losers more room to run than you are your winners. So I think that's probably the biggest solution to, running into this problem. I remember, it was my second week trading my own account. I'd had a good profitable first week. And the second week I was trading corn, and, I think I went long corn, and market went against me, 15 cents on my one lot, and I cannonballed. I added to it. Now I've got a couple contracts on, and corn had, moved lower, 20 cents. And at the time, the price limits were 30 cents. And I could not function. I was so deflated. I had wiped out all my profits from the first week, which was a great start, to my trading career, made money. And I was sick to my stomach that day. I ended up having to puke the trade, and I took a couple $1,000s in loss that day on week 2. And I didn't have a massive account that I was starting to trade with. I was not yet familiar with, big upswings and big downswings, but I just froze. I'd never,
Yeah, you hit on something important there, Mick, that having hard and fast risk management rules, especially when it comes to how much you're going to lose, or especially your daily loss limit, is going to prevent you a lot of physical pain, where that's absolutely right. I've been there where something's going against you and you don't know exactly where you're getting out, and it's getting worse. I've gotten, nauseous, your blood pressure's up there. It's like a true fight or flight response. And if you can avoid that, that's really great. And the second part, I'll go to Dan real quick, but if you don't have hard, fast risk rules, where are you going to stop? I think about this FTX thing right there, where essentially they removed their margin and basically did what we're saying here. This position keeps on going against you, and you're saying, well, it's got to come back. It's got to come back. Then eventually you put yourself in a situation where it's got to come back or you go to jail. Once again, hopefully none of you are that far in, but save yourself that physical pain, really, mental, emotional, everything. I mean, I've probably actually thrown up before from a trade. In fact, I'm almost certain of it. Dan, you look like you're about to say something.
Yeah, I just wanted to say something. Mick kind of brought it up, and I wanted to, touch on this topic. When you get into these trades, you've predetermined where your risk is, where your outs are, whether you're wrong or you're right. You've got that predetermined. If you're not doing that before you get in the trade, it's going to be really hard, because once you're in the trade, we create, whether we want to accept it or not, we've created a bias. Like, we have a bias that we need this market to go in our positive direction to pay us money. If we don't have that plan, it's really easy to continue to sit in these and say, well, it's gotta go. It's gotta go up. I'm long this market. I need it to go up. If I don't have my stop in place, it's really easy. And I've done this. It's very easy to sit in that and say, well, it'll recover eventually. I can take a little more heat. Because if you're not pre-planned, you don't know where your route is. So you haven't really made that decision of, okay, I've made an unbiased decision that says the market gets to here, I have to be out because I am wrong. So you got to pre-plan every trade that you're taking.
Yeah. Ho, you look like you're going to interject.
Yeah. And moving forward in your trading, if you're trying to decipher how good you're doing in staying in winning trades and getting out of losing trades, nothing makes me happier than a quick loss. All right, I'm here, I'm in, oh, I'm out. Okay, I found out quickly. There's the reward over risk ratio. That's one part of it. But on the trade reports, you have average time in winning trades and average time in losing trades. One of the things you're going to want to look at is, maybe my reward over risk is good, but is my duration in winning trades longer than the losing trades? Something that I don't think a lot of people look for. We put it in the trade reports for that reason, is to get an understanding of how much time you are spending in winning trades, which should be much longer than you are in losing trades.
That's a really good point. I remember the type of trading I was doing. The losses would be like a snowball rolling down the hill, right? Where they was excruciatingly slow, where everyone would be fine. And then people would kind of stop talking, and then people would start like fidgeting and things like that. And it would happen over the course of a day, 2 days, something like that. And I wish I paid more attention to what you're saying there, Hogue. It's good. If duration is a thing that we don't, I think, talk about as much, but duration is an important thing to look at when you're trading or keeping track of what you're doing. So with that, any final thoughts on this topic from around the horn here? I think we've said what needs to be said. This is something simple. We could do this once a month for the next 3 years, or just talk about this. And I think it would still be important for people, because it just has to be drilled into your head to make it muscle memory, just to have that sort of discipline.
And I don't think it's something you stop thinking about. It's like Hogue said right off the get-go, or Jack, I don't remember which one of you guys said it, but it's human nature. It's human nature, and it's something that, it's not instilled from you from day one, and you've really got to focus on it for years and years. I mean, Hogue, you've been doing this for what, a better part of a century now, or a millennium. I don't remember which one, but I'm sure you still have to think about it.
Yeah, back when they used to use chalk on the cave walls. Prices, right?
Yeah, trading pelts the better part of a century.
Yeah, 30 years plus, I still feel the same thing. I still feel them. It's just in the way I'm able to respond to them. When I was talking about a really quick loss, like, okay, I'm in and I'm out. Those just make me laugh. Like, okay, how did I do that? So, it's all in being able to put the pain behind you. If you are focusing on the pain, you're never going to do well. Tom Hooger's book, I'm so fascinated with a lot of the things that he says, and it's just reinforcing the things I've heard for so many years. is if you're focusing on the pain, you're going to create the pain. If you can't let go of the pain, you're carrying every losing trade that you've ever had along with you in the next trade. You just don't want to do that. And especially if you know that you've acted irresponsibly in your own trading by, moving stops or canceling stops. You put the trade on, you know your risk. Take the batteries out of your mouse, stick it in a drawer, something to keep you from moving it. It's
Yeah.
always you put a trade on, you expect something to happen. You don't control what.
Yeah. You talk about
You don't
quick
get any
losses.
you don't get any smarter after you put the trade on, really, unless you're
No.
watching the market and you see it's really stopped going up or stopped going down. I mean, you should really be in 90 something % of your trades, sticking to your guns and your same reasoning for putting the trade on. Cause as we watch it go against us, go in our favor, we start to get emotional and think about this. Oh, do I need to lock in these profits? Or, should I just get out here, get out there? Unless something's drastically changed or you physically see something changing in the market, you're not getting any smarter after you put on the trade.
Yeah, that's another coach's playbook is, are you capable of accepting information that is contrary to what you already believe?
Yeah, maybe we'll do that next week. Hold and write it down. I was going to say a quick hit. You're talking about taking quick losses. And I don't think I've ever mentioned this before, but I once saw a gentleman lose $27,000 in like 2 minutes by flipping a ticket. And those are things to be avoided, but it could always be worse with that. Usually the quick losses aren't that bad. So
Right.
pay attention to your stuff. They're usually better, but I don't know. I was just thinking about that because the worst part with that guy is he was like a clerk, right? So it wasn't, he had to like call up the person and be like, so about that.
Yikes.
But those are the times. That's what one of like my favorite lessons learning and trading was like when I was doing clerking and I was hedging positions. Like if I flipped a ticket, owning up to it very quickly. It's always a lot better. The second you recognize it, you're on that headset. Hey, flip the ticket. We're down 10 grand and set up 10 grand on this one.
He didn't get
Close it
fired
out.
too. He's, to my knowledge, I think that he's still a pretty big trader at a certain place not to be named. So yeah, that's it. We already have our topic for next week. Really plan your outs in advance, stick to it. You will save yourself a world of hurt. That is our advice from the coach's playbook this week. Dan, do you have a quote?
I do. It's from author of Pitbull, Lessons from a Wall Street Champion, day trader Marty Schwartz. I actually really like this one. Cutting a losing trade quickly clears your head and restores your objectivity.
Very good. I thought at first it was going to be it's from Pitbull, the autobiography of Pitbull. This would be like, Mr. Worldwide himself. All right, with that, Hogue, take us home.
Sure. I had met Marty Schwartz. He was on the Merck floor for a little while. It was a really good book. He was a really good trader. And there's a good trader inside each and every one of you. We just got to start thinking as a trader instead of as a normal person. Tom Hooger's book talks all the time about if you're normal people aren't going to make money. Think smarter, think different. And we are looking forward to your success. Trade well today, everybody.